time heals everything. But what if that's just a comforting myth? Today, on Mind Over Matter, we welcome Mridula Agarwal, a trauma recovery expert and founder of iReAwake, who believes healing doesn't need to take years. Instead, it requires precision, presence, and the courage to dive beneath the surface of our subconscious programming. If you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but still circling the same pain, this one's going to hit deep. Welcome to the show, Mridula. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Anna. It's an honor to be here too.
Hmm? So, what inspired you to challenge the belief that time heals all wounds?
So, like most of us who are in our mid 20s, mid 30s, or early 40s, I also went through my series of troubles, breakdowns, breakthroughs, traumas, and pains. And I went from pillar to post, all in hope of, things will settle down, all in the hope of getting reassurances, and more than that, results. I really wanted to prove that things will work out for the best. Sooner or later, problems will fade away. And in the whole quest of me finding the answers to all my problems, I kept on hearing this thing: don't worry, this is just a phase. Time heals all wounds. Things will get better. Don't pay attention to it. Let it go. Phrases like these, which have become so much of a cultural cliche that somehow we just don't know what to do with it. And because there is no other option than to listen to it, we end up succumbing to these kind of, sayings, which really doesn't work. Because in my whole process of waiting to get healed and waiting with the time, I realized that, 5, 6 years quickly passed by and things only got worse. And this was something that, I could preempt, I could see beforehand that if these things are left unattended, these wounds are going to fester. But nobody had any solution. Instead, all they had were these cliched lines. And eventually it did happen that, things really got worse. And then I came to this realization, okay, it is not going to be time. I really need to do something. And I really need some solution. It was in the whole quest of finding solutions that I realized that it is not the time that's going to heal it. It's my actions. It's how I deal with it. And what result do I create for myself? That is what is going to change the things, not time.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And was there a personal experience that revealed this gap to you?
Yeah. So, like around 5, 6 years back, around 2018, so I was already running a business by 2018. 18, I think I was about 9 years into the business, 7, 8 years at least into the business. That was a food business I was in, and it was going good up till a certain point. Then I had a baby. I simultaneously expanded my business, and I was always a solopreneur. I had vertical heads and people to assist me with the operations and everything. But at the end of the day, I was a solopreneur. And in the whole journey of, handling so many other things, so many other aspects of things, I saw my health deteriorating. I somehow thought maybe it is the age, maybe it is something, I'm not paying too much attention to. Maybe I'm just tired, or maybe I've just had a baby. And then one by one, I found that, it was just not my health which was failing me. It was the business. It no longer excited me. It felt like a burden. At that point of time, my son got diagnosed with a borderline autism. And, the entire pressure around, it created a whole wound, an emotional wound, a financial wound. And this was not the kind of thing that, could go away with time. Because if you have creditors or if you have bank hanging on your doorstep that, you have to pay up because I took loan to expand the business, that is not going to go away with time. That is something you have to arrange for and pick up. I had a child at that age who could have deteriorated to a much deeper spectrum of autism without any sign of recovery. That's a wound which is not going to heal by itself with time. That required intervention and timely intervention. My own physical state, and along with my entire mental and emotional state, which went haywire, that wouldn't have had, healed by itself. I know people who have been in trauma, who have been in depression for years altogether. Maybe they are on therapies, medications, meditations, but that kind of shadow doesn't lift up. And it was my own trauma that also exposed me to this. And this was never my line of work to begin with. Of course, I was a healer. I underwent an ignition myself when I was in school. I was doing healing, but just for myself. I never knew the deeper nuances of things until then. And then when I encountered my own issues, that is when I realized that how hollow is this self-help kind of a concept of therapy, because it does not really yield results. It is not going to be based on time. But at the end of my own recovery, I realized it's energy. And unless you do not change the energetic codes, the patterns, those repeated, which are repeated through people, situations, even illnesses, it's not going to break. It's like you're caught up or trapped in a cycle.
That really resonates because sometimes waiting becomes a trap disguised as healing.
Hmm. So time doesn't heal. Like time only distances you from the emotional memory. And like if you speak to someone who has been a trauma client, has been through a traumatic experience, that person may say, okay, that was like long time back. Some people, they talk like that as if they are talking from way back from the memory. And then there are some people who talk as if something that had happened 50 years ago, but they are still reliving every moment when they discuss it with you. And in both the cases, whether the person doesn't even remember, it's like a vague memory, or even if it is fresh in the memory, in both the cases, person is equally and still impacted. You are still trapped. So, from a neuroscience point of view, the brain is still looping through the same neural pathways, whether it happened in the past, recent past, or pretty much in the present. And just, waiting, it just, deepens those groups that you are going through the same loops over and over, over and over, over and over again. And longer you have waited on it, the deeper those grooves have become, meaning you are more trapped in them. It was initially, it could have been one emotional trauma that somebody left you, for example, or you were cheated upon. And around that wound, you have created a whole life based on this abandonment that you once experienced. So time has not really healed it, it has deepened it. Now, from energy perspective, pain is not just in your mind, it's stored in your energy field, your chakras, your nervous system. So anytime you meet someone who is depressed, even if you do not know the other person's story, that person visibly, energetically feels depressed. And those kind of people will then create a whole loop of attracting either depressed or predatory or sympathetic or judgmental people into their aura, because they are the one who are giving those vibes. And just because you have sat in that kind of energy for 10 years, that vibe has rather solidified around you. So it's like you're just making the problem worse by sitting on it longer. It's like a wound which has festered. It's like living in a house with molds on the wall. The time is not going to clean it. You need to remove the mold. You need to do something about it.
Definitely. And you talk about invisible patterns that kept you stuck, keep us stuck.
Mhm.
What do these patterns usually look like in day to day life?
So in day-to-day life, if you investigate, everyone has patterns, okay? But when you investigate their lives, you will find a lot of time people are even aware, they keep on saying words like this. Oh, this always happens with me. Somebody else steals credit for my work. Oh, I always felt that, this should have been done like this, but I never said anything out loud. I wasn't sure. But see, the winner is the person who actually said it out loud. Oh, I'm always someone who keeps on getting people who misuse me. I always get trapped into situations where I get cheated. No matter what I do, I'm not able to lose weight. No matter how much I try, I'm not able to save money. This sounds regular. These are the kind of patterns which kind of give you a glimpse. And if you explore them deeper, they will give you a deeper understanding of why someone continuously attract partners which are going to betray them. Why they continuously keep on attracting situations in which they never seem to have a win. They keep on having, someone else steal their credit because maybe someone somewhere in their childhood or maybe energetically, they are the kind of people who, from the core energy point of view, do not believe that their idea will be listened to, will be appreciated, will be understood. Maybe they were criticized heavily as a child, or maybe they were being told again and again, elders will take care of them. So they never thought it was their responsibility to share their idea. Or maybe they said it out loud many, many times before. Nobody paid attention or they were brushed aside. Whichever way, whichever might be the route, they have internalized that entire process and they have attached their identity to someone who never gets credit. It's a story, in some kind of story they've told themselves that maybe I'm not worthy of love. Maybe only if I keep quiet or if I tolerate too much, only then I will be loved. That is how, people are creating these patterns by the stories that they have internalized through their childhood, through their past lives, maybe through their ancestral wounds, through their own life experiences, which are going to play out no matter how many places or people you change in their life, by hook or by crook, the story will still be the same.
100%. And how can someone tell if what they're feeling is a surface emotion or a deeper subconscious loop?
So there are two things. One is an emotion, and another is a feeling. Like, for example, someone may come to me, or maybe their partners come to me, and they say this particular person has an anger issue. No matter what I do, she's always angry. She keeps on screaming. She has such a loud volume. Even sometimes she gets so angry that she starts smashing things. Now, this is a kind of emotion or their external behavior that they are depicting. Now, when you speak to them, you will uncover a deeper feeling. Why exactly, they are getting angry. And there you may find some patterns like this person never hears me. No matter how many times I tell this person to do A, B, C task, the person doesn't do it. That makes me angry. Okay. That also leads to another kind of questioning. Why are you still tolerating this person? Or do you need to change your way of talking? Or what kind of subconscious story have you told yourself? Maybe for them, it could be normal that, partners don't listen. What story, deeper, at a deeper level, they're telling themselves, if we investigate their whole life about it is not just with this particular person, but in their whole level of professional communication, how they're communicating with their parents, their friends, their colleagues, their seniors, their juniors. When you investigate the whole of thing, you will then realize whether it is their pattern, which is specifically getting mirrored everywhere, or it is with this particular person, the problem is, cropping up, which means it is with respect to marriage or with intimate relationships, this particular pattern needs to be fixed, or there is some other loop which is. But if there is some disturbing external behavior, for sure, there is some subconscious loop that we need to still uncover.
That distinction can be life changing because most people don't even know that they're living on autopilot.
Sure, of course. Lot of times we are just wading through the life and we are doing things, feeling what should I say, very stimulative, impulsive, in the moment, on the fly. And I felt like doing this, so I did this. But if you look at them, it's like, dude, your parents have been always doing it this way. You just copied it from them. Your best friend always does it this way. You have watched too much cartoon. Doraemon does things like that. They're always heavily influenced by all of us. We are heavily influenced by who we have been with for so long. And we kind of inspire, imitate, or copy someone else's behavior that becomes part of our scripts. Quite rarely it so happens that, person is actually making a true use of free will and is choosing their actions from the space of what is good for me without causing damage to others. And this whole concept of self-love, it goes deeper into that. That if I really love myself, what kind of people will I choose? What kind of success will I plan for myself? What kind of health do I want to keep? And consequently, what kind of choices of food or lifestyle will I make for myself? And when someone is awakened enough to the point where they can break out of all of these stories that they have learned or they have absorbed or they have accepted, this is the norm. It is only beyond that or in the process of that, people unfold layers of themselves. And it is in the whole process of awakening, they really understand how much of trap they were in, what kind of patterns they unconsciously repeated, and within the patterns created a lot of other sub patterns. And even without their knowledge, just they were creating life without even knowing that they were the one creating life.
Totally. And your methods bring result in 24 to 72 hours. That's bold.
Yes.
What actually happens in that window?
So when I say 24 to 72 hours, what we mean is that, the way my process, the way I develop my process in the whole, um, series of undergoing breakthroughs myself was, I realized that, when you look at one particular pattern, let's say, for example, it could be someone like that, no matter what I do, I always end up failing. I always end up losing money. When you speak about anyone's story, life story, not just one pattern, not just one place where they are stuck, but at a destiny level, what is their destiny wanting them? What is their life want them to? If you investigate life from that particular point, level of, viewpoint, you will decode, or at least I decode, that one particular problem that they have managed to. It is not just a matter of their subconscious wiring, what they believed or what they absorbed or what they thought or what kind of belief they carried. It is also a question of what kind of ancestral wounds they have. Like, for example, somebody could be having ancestral lineage in which they were really rich, and in one of the ancestries, somebody just created blunder, or there were some external circumstances in which they lost all the money, and that has got heavily played on everybody's psyche. So, if a mother who has been that particular generation, like a parent, has been through that, subsequently they develop fear of losing money, which got passed on to variety of their generation. Or maybe they were having their own karmic journey in the form of Akashic record, wherein maybe somebody through the series of lifetime conquered a lot, lost a lot, and they were having this high and low and high and low in so many lifetimes. So maybe in this lifetime, they need to let go of fear of losing money and stand up and rise up into the level of, into the energy of creation and abundance, where the money can easily flow in and be with them. So that particular kind of cracking of code requires you to go through all levels of anyone's energy field, subconscious, karma, past life, everything. And when you deal with the whole root cause of anything in totality, then you get a complete breakthrough. Now, why I say 24 hours? Because usually in my kind of approach, I take care of the divine feminine, or everything that they carried from their mother's side, ancestral, intuition, guidance, empathy, caring, or what they thought that, mothers and females are. If they are themselves female, who they are in general, they crack that code for themselves. Then divine masculine, which dictates their long-term goal plans, their masculine energy, how they drive their life, what kind of men will they attract in their life, how did they see their fathers, what kind of relationship they had with all the males in the family, in their bosses, everyone they have met. From where you took a reference of what is male and what is female, and then consequently you drew up a conclusion of who you are. And then all the chakras, one by one, every chakra has its own patterns, which play out in a different way. Moment I go into all layers of uh, energy code, subconscious, and the shamanistic ritual with them, by 6 sessions or by maximum 8 sessions, they have really uncovered a higher version of themselves. And all of a sudden, there are different people. All these old thoughts, all these old memories, all these, vision that they had of who they are and what they will be, it transforms. And by the time they are up to 12 sessions, they have completely shifted. Like, that particular person is no longer the person who came to me at the first session. And the change is so visible that after every session, if I repeat the person, hey, before the session you were saying XYZ things, how do you feel about them now? Person would be like, when did I say all this? I don't even have a memory of it. Or these things do not resonate with me at all. Sometimes people tell me exactly opposite story. No, Mridula, this is not what I said. I meant exactly opposite. Probably you misunderstood. I said, okay, that was new. I misunderstood. So that phase in 12 sessions, that is in total of 24 hours, which can happen in 1 week or it can happen in 1 month, depending on what is the seriousness of a situation. Everybody is able to pull themselves out, whether it is suicidal thoughts, whether it is, some kind of deeper physical issues, it could be financial breakdowns, it could be relationship issues. Moment you realize who you are, what do you want, what exactly do you want for your life to look like, and you evaluate who needs to be there, who doesn't need to be there, what kind of equation you have with people and with yourself, it's done. I do not need to tell you. This is not a counseling. You know it. Everyone is a divine being. And in 24 to 72 hours of this kind of work, you will have real insights and clarity on who you are and what you want. And that is where the healing starts.
Yeah, and I imagine listeners are wondering, can this really happen for me? And it sounds like the answer is yes, if they're ready to go deep.
Yes, of course. Like if they're ready to go deep, all they need is firstly, they need awareness as to more than awareness, I would say a decision. So I've had people who are either, they're in three levels. One, they could be broken through some trauma. They could be in deep depression. They could be in a failing relationship. They could be trapped in a job they absolutely hate. They could be in a wrong country. Or maybe something bad has happened to them in the form of trauma. I get those people out in like 24 hours. In 6 months, their life is at a completely different tangent. And then they come back to me. They're like, okay, Mridula, now I am trying to get a new job. Can you please help me? Help me with my performance. I'm dating this new guy. I want to know how things will be. Can I find someone better? That is a league they are in after 6 months. Then the second set of people I get with whom nothing is wrong. Life is going on. I'm drawing a salary. Life is good. I have stable friends. Maybe if they are in 30s, maybe they have home, they have EMIs going out, they have auto loans which are on autopilot, weekend lunches and brunches, and life is good. Nothing is wrong per se, but they're bored, they feel stuck. It's monotonous. It's not kick-ass alive. It's like you're still just surviving a old rat race kind of a story. And the real things which you wanted to do, you don't have time to do for them. And that kind of, sometimes, a lot of times, that is why people are depressed when they are in 30s because, and, it gets labeled or mislabeled as midlife crisis. But actually, it's a deeper wake up call. Dude, is this what you wanted to do in this lifetime? So it's such a sacred lifetime. Is this what you came to do? Those are the people who came to me to realize, to come back and to realign, what do they really want? How exactly can they be the fire starters? What are the things that really make them come alive? And what exactly can they do in this life, in this juncture of their life, without disturbing a lot of other things, wherein they can pivot or maybe they can recraft themselves and unlock a bigger destiny for themselves, which is, something like a purpose they want to live. To them also, the sessions and this entire process is relevant. And I also get the third kind of people, the top notch, who have made money, who have good relationships. Maybe these are people who could be in their 40s or maybe in their 50s. Those are high achievers. They have made money. They have passive income. They have, these investments which are set up for life. They have their assets which are lined up. Maybe they are donating money also. The relationship also, look, there's nothing wrong, absolutely. But now the only problem is I had checked all the boxes and I still have half of my life left. What do I do now? Then maybe for them, the answer is maybe for them, the destiny is that they need to understand or they need to locate their higher purpose. What is their true gift? And now what do they need to do for mankind? Or maybe there are certain loose ends they have in their life, maybe relationship with their parents, or maybe people they have lost on their way who carry part of their old essence. Maybe they need to retrieve that and live up to unlock their gift, not just for themselves, but for others. So yes, for people at all the levels, whether you're broken, whether you're just doing okay, or whether you're doing amazingly well, there is always a next level you can go to. And there's always something you should be going towards.
That's amazing. And why do you think some people stay stuck even after therapy, affirmations, or mindset work?
So it's like you're trying to solve a problem in surface. A lot of times, so like I said, it's a multifactorial problem. It's like if you're trying to launch a rocket, It's not just a physics problem. It's a problem of mathematics, cosmic science, physics, engineering, of how the engines are made. It is also a biological complexity, because when the astronauts are going to travel in a anti-gravity chamber, how will their biology be functioning? What kind of food do they need to have? So when we speak about launching a rocket, then we cannot just say that, okay, I will only use physics. I don't want to talk about biology. It doesn't work like that. It's a composite problem. It needs to, in order to solve or crack that kind of a code, you need to have everything sorted. Now, this is what happens when people do only one bit of the work. Like, let's say someone has done only affirmations or chanting or something like that. Usually, it is only up to your subconscious mind that you are dealing. But subconscious mind developed much later, okay, when perhaps you were already a child and you started to absorb conditioning from the outside world. That is when the subconscious mind wasn't storing information, and maybe was creating these patterns. But let's say a story of Rama, and let's say a story of Duryodhana. These were people who were really Siddh. They had access to best of Siddhis. But in person, who they were as essence of their core energy blueprint, who they were, their character, that was predetermined. That was a journey of many, many lifetimes that they became who they became. And consequently, those were the kind of thoughts that were prevalent in their head, which any other person wouldn't have. Now, when you're trying to solve a problem, like for example, cancer, it is a combination problem. What made someone think like that is also a product of who they were. And when you use variety of, all layers of tools, not just affirmation, you cannot heal cancer from affirmation, at least as far as I know. And you also cannot solve it only through meditation. You have to use and cut all through the layers. It's like you take a knife and you cut through all layers of cake all at once. You cannot just skim away the topping and feel that, cake is cut. So that is why when people use just incomplete methods or not in the right sequence, that is where they become stuck over the passage of years. And the worst part is everyone, each and every single person will feel, now I felt better, which means now I have healed. No. The real proof of healing is there are 4 levels in which you will heal. The first and the immediate level is that when you will think about all of those past and when you will think about your new future, it will be different. You will be able to talk about the past without feeling overwhelmed. You will be able to think about the future and you will find new thoughts and new ideas. That's the first level. The second level of healing is you will know, you will have some answers. Why this happened to me? What was life trying to teach me? Why did this happen only to me? Why did nobody else was part of it? Those kind of haunting questions that comes back to us. Up till second level, you will have some answers to some of those questions. Like that, there are many levels. By the 4th level, it will really not matter what had happened. And you'll be so focused, like you may even forget that anything like that had happened, and you would have unlocked a different version of you. Your divine gifts, maybe would have unlocked, or you would have achieved a different kind of success, which was beyond horizon. In your general timeline, you wouldn't have ever reached. That's the mark of true healing, and those patterns will not repeat, and some next level things are happening, not just temporary relief.
That's such a powerful reframe, especially for those who have started believing that their pain is just permanent.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just a script. People are telling themselves that I'm destined to be like this. This has to stay permanent. There is no solution to my pain. Some pains which do not go. These are just cultural norms. None of this is true. I get routinely clients who are so broken and so deep in desperation. And within like a couple of sessions, the change in them is evident. They are able to smile, they're able to talk, they tell a different story about themselves. You can really see that, they have shed those baggages, and it's so instant. Pain is never permanent. It's your choice whether you want to deal with it or you want to live with
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So, if time hasn't healed you, maybe it was never meant to. Real healing begins when you stop waiting and start unlearning. Big thanks to Mridula for showing us a faster, deeper, and more conscious way to transform. If this sparked something inside you, don't ignore it, explore it. Your breakthrough might be.